I'm Marcy Barron, and this is Mondays with Marcy. I'm your homeward bound guide to everything 5D living. I can't wait to share with you tips and tools to guide your personal transformation so that you can live a life that thrills you. Hello, and welcome to this week's Mondays with Marcy. I am Marcy Barron, your host, and I am so excited to welcome Mel Parrish to the podcast. Welcome, beautiful.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here with you. I was just thinking about the last time I saw you. It's been years, but we did that amazing meditation by the water at Soul Camp. And I'm like struggling to remember the last time I felt that blissed out.
Wow. Oh, I received that. Thank you. Yeah, we were both presenters at Soul Camp Day Camp. And I appreciate that. Yeah, you came to my meditation and it was really powerful. So thank you.
It was. Yeah.
Thank you. So we met. I mean, my God, you are now the mother to 3 daughters. And you are a model. And a little pose. So can you tell our listeners what you do, who you are, and what you're about? Because I love what you're about.
Oh, well, I appreciate that so much. And I love what you're about too, which is why I'm so glad to be here talking to you. I have for the last 7 or 8 years done plus size modeling. And through that, it was like a real journey for me, having always been like a bigger woman, to like accept my body, make peace with my size, find love for myself. And throughout that journey, I've just really tried to share what's true for me in that moment. And when I became a mother, of course, all that gets like a little bit magnified because motherhood is such a trip in so many ways. That's my 4-year-old over there, just throwing furniture around or whatever she's doing in the playroom.
It's a lens for everything to come up to be healed, isn't it?
Yeah, it totally is. And I've heard it said that like parenting can be very cathartic because it's an opportunity to reparent yourself in some ways, which isn't a dig at my parents who were wonderful. But, you know, we all come through childhood with gaps, scars, experiences that have resulted in trauma. And it is such an opportunity when you have this little human in front of you reflecting back to you where your wounds are and what you need to work on. So yeah, it definitely has amplified everything when it comes to body issues, but I mean, so much else.
Right.
So I try to share that. Yeah.
Parenting is a lens, as you said so beautifully, to heal everything, and specifically women's bodies around their difference when you go in pregnant and when you come out pregnant. So I'd like to talk about that lens with you, because that's like what your area has always been, is coming into full acceptance of your shape and body and size. And then it becoming, I imagine, even bigger and changing as you became a mother and with each subsequent pregnancy. So how did you come to peace, and how do you come to peace with your body? Because it's a war.
I mean,
it's been a war it's been a battle for me, because I realized on both sides of my family, judgment and ancestral and bloodline around body image.
Yeah. And, you know, I think what it is, at least in my experience, it's like I came into the body positive conversation with so much negative programming around size. And so my journey has been one of figuring out what are the helpful thoughts, what are the unhelpful thoughts, how do I replace unhelpful thoughts with ones that are more helpful. And the part that can be really difficult, that I've had to put a lot of energy into, has also been learning to see certain behaviors as like harmful to my body and a form of violence against myself,
Mm.
that I need to correct, I need to remedy, I need to repair. It wasn't until I sat down, I was considering writing a book a few years ago, and I was doing a bunch of writing. And as I was writing, I looked at what I put on paper and I was like, I think I'm describing an eating disorder here.
Wow.
Like writing about what were my behaviors around food and exercise. And I realized, like, oh, I had an eating disorder, have an eating disorder. So it was a process of exploration and self-healing and figuring out, like, okay, I've been told my whole life that or at least the message I took away, from a lot of things that I went through and was exposed to, was that being thin is the most important thing and that I should do whatever I can to lose weight.
Yes.
Like if you told me to drink gasoline that it would help me lose weight, I would have done it.
Yeah.
um it's so figuring out the difference between self-care and self-harm when it comes to intentional weight loss, and also just accepting, like, my body is my body. It might never look the way that somebody else's body, like someone like a Kim Kardashian or a Beyonce or whoever you think has a beautiful body that you aspire to look like. You know, it, like in many cases, is just anatomically, it's never going to be possible for you to look that way
Right.
without surgery. Sometimes it's not even possible for them to look that way without surgery.
Yeah. And
Um,
it's interesting. I just
so
have to
yeah,
say, like, what happened recently in the news with the Marilyn Monroe dress and like touting this 18-pound weight loss with eating tomatoes in 2 weeks. Like, I have a teenage daughter, and it's really, really I mean, there've always been crazy, terrible things growing up in the 80s and 90s, which is, but with social media and her just saying that, and it's just like I got nauseous from it.
yeah, and I my reaction was, honestly, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm so enlightened right now, but I did go straight to empathy, because
Yeah,
she's saying it in such a bald-faced way that it's like she doesn't even realize how messed up that is.
I know.
She's still inside the matrix. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, she
she
doesn't
lives
even
in a
know.
world where her value, yeah, and her value is determined by her size. Like, we get to live in a world, um, out here in the real world, where we can say, like, you're beautiful at any size, and I'm going to choose to accept myself today and just wear the sweatpants because it's what's comfortable, and not try to contort myself into some strange outfit for the acceptance of others. Like, literally every day she wakes up, and the only way she makes money is by contorting herself into what others find acceptable.
Mm,
And so I just felt really sad for her in that moment.
yeah.
Like, a lot of people project hate and their own negative experiences onto figures like that. But I think we have to remember that they're human too. And while, like,
Compassion.
yeah, compassion. And while, like, I mean, I don't feel sorry for Kim Kardashian necessarily. Like, you got a bunch of money. You're like, materially, your well-being is, you're fine. You're okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, but she doesn't really, in the position that she's in right now, without radically changing her business and her brand, she doesn't have the freedom to have, like, a self-determined view of herself and her body. It's really dependent on courting the approval, the admiration of others. And so I think we have to have compassion for that. And having been on the receiving end of negative comments in my own journey from people who thought I'm not body positive enough, that it's terrible to ever talk about intentional weight loss because it's always evil and bad.
Mm,
Um, like, I just think we have to remember that an important component of body positivity is body autonomy. Your body is your own. Your
yes.
feelings about your body are yours. Your journey is your own. And it doesn't help anybody if we're, busy looking at other people's paper. Keep your eyes on your own paper. Worry about your journey is always the best policy. So,
I love that.
yeah,
And it's true. Everybody's opinion is self-projected self-loathing. You
yeah,
know, it really is. And it's gotten really loud. It's gotten
Yeah.
really loud, and the whole body autonomy thing has gotten really loud out there. And I just find with my own self and my own discovery and my own healing, um, just how realized I felt a lot of guilt around eating and eating anything, because when I grew up in my house, the masculine authority in my house used to buy bagels and then would yell at me for eating those bagels that he bought, or that I didn't scoop them out,
Yeah.
you know. And it's an
Yeah.
interesting thing, because with food, unlike alcohol, unlike cigarettes, unlike, a lot of things, we have to eat to survive. So I
Yeah.
realize in my own healing journey, it's been, and still continues to be this day, one of deeper understanding, compassion, and understanding, even for the masculine authority in my house, who is projecting his own was projecting onto an innocent
Mhm.
child. It's all unraveling, though, I feel, as all of this matrix 3D consciousness is unraveling. And it's like voices like you, and I have to say, you were one of the first people I ever met. I was like, wow, a plus size model, a woman who's coming into a healing day as an advocate and a voice and a role model for that. I really admire you.
Oh, I really appreciate that. I seriously feel like I'm just bowing at your feet here, like I'm not worthy, but um, I think the healing work that you do is so incredible and so powerful.
Aw.
So it's just really a privilege that we get to interact like this.
So, given that you're a mom of three, and so what are you working on these days? Like, how do you fill your time? How do you balance? Are you modeling? What are you doing?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm still represented by True Model Management in New York, my wonderful, wonderful agents. Just got back. Our family got booked on a photo shoot last week. We were out in Colorado for, and so yeah, a little work still trickling in. And I'm just so grateful for any chance I get to, glam up and go strut my stuff on set or whatever. This time it was really fun because I got to do it without having to leave my kids behind. They were part of the experience, which was so wild and so fun. And also, like, I felt so bad for the photographer. I'm like, hi, we're a lot. Sorry. But yeah, because we have a 4 year old, a 2 year old, and an 8 month old. So, I mean, day to day, my life is very much about my kids right now,
Yeah.
but also about being in a good routine with myself since I am still recovering, not so much from birth, but recovering from pregnancy for sure. I like to
Yeah.
remind other moms you heal, according to our medical system, you heal from birth in about 3 months. Okay, baby,
There
come
she
here. You want to sit
is.
with me? There's Sammy. You see a toy out there that you want? Well, mommy will get it in a minute. Why don't you come sit with me? Um, you heal from birth in about 3 months according to medicine, but it takes 12 to 18 months to heal from 9 months
Yeah.
of pregnancy, and we've been doing them back to back, so there's a lot of healing happening. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's our day to day. I do still try to maintain an active presence on social media and share what's happening in our lives. We are really fortunate. We moved to a new home in a more agricultural area. And so, a big journey that we're on is we have chickens, we are growing some of our food,
I love
and
that.
yeah, it's so much fun. These kids really love the chickens too. It's been a real blessing. And we're getting more of our food from local farms. So we're really putting a lot of intention into how we nourish ourselves, and also, wanting to spend money to support family farms instead of big box stores and things like that. And it's all stuff you have the luxury of doing in these years where you're sort of planted at home with the littles. So
Yeah.
that's where we are right now.
And that's such a good lesson for them to like be a part of that. And it always tastes so much better when you grow your own food and have your own eggs. And what a delicious thing.
And
Yeah.
I mean, because you're a mom as well, like these kids are growing up in such a different reality than we did, where everything is like instant gratification. So it's
Yes.
just important to us from a values perspective, like let's learn how to cultivate something and
Yeah.
what it takes to put that food on your plate, or keep chickens alive and happy and laying eggs for us. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's something, it's a joy to do. And we hope it's also good lessons for the kiddos along the way.
I think just getting into the earth, getting into your body, getting into nature, that whole experience is so good for them.
Yeah, it's good for them and it's good for me too. That's part of my healing too. And a part of how I care for myself is seeking out food that's really going to nourish me. And yeah, so it works for everybody on so many levels. So we're just
Yeah.
grateful that that's our reality. You know what I mean?
What a gift it is. So I I guess the best way for people, our audience, to find you is through Instagram, right? That's like your
Yes.
main platform. So what I'll do
Yes.
is I'll link your Instagram in the show notes. What's
Perfect.
what's one last tip that you can leave women who struggle to accept their body? What's one word of advice that you could give our listeners?
Ooh, let me see here. I think that the journey to heal your self-image, your love for your body, restore that oneness with yourself is to catch yourself thinking about what other people think of your body, or what does your body mean about your value as a person. And
Right.
those thoughts like, ugh, they're gonna like, I'm gonna look so fat in this. Okay, to who is looking at you and making those judgments? And like, I think your personal story that you shared about the male authority in your house, like I'm sure you've had moments where you've made decisions about food and really you're reacting to kind of the ghost of that person in your mind, or a
Absolutely.
mean ex-boyfriend, or a bully chick from your soccer team who made negative comments about you, whatever it is. Like, identify those, try to work on those wounds, heal them, and get to a place where you see yourself in relation to how you want to feel, and not just how you want to feel in terms of appearance, but like, how much energy do you want to have? What do you want to be able to do with your beautiful body? I mean, so that's kind of where it all starts, is identifying what's going on in your head right now and how do we heal it.
I love that. And I think
Mm-hmm.
to add on to that, it's like I have separated that that's not my voice.
Yeah.
It's someone else's and it really has nothing to do with me. So
Yeah. And that takes reflection. So I applaud the work you've done there. That's awesome.
thank you so much. I am so grateful that we got to chat today.
Me too.
Yay! If someone listening knows that this would be medicine for another person's soul, I please ask that you forward it to them. Thank you. Bye, Mel. Thank
Thank you. Great
you.
talking to you.
Great talking to you. Bye. That's it for this week's episode of Mondays with Marcy. Be sure to subscribe to my newsletter at marcybaronclears.com. I also would love for you to follow me on your favorite podcasting app so that you don't miss a single episode. I'm Marcy Baron, and thanks for listening. I am so grateful you are here.